Relive the most memorable fashion moments of 2024. Coming up on The Year in Fashion. In 2024, fashion was bold, boundary-pushing, escapist, and versatile, offering contemporary solutions to a timeless question: how do we dress for today? In this installment of The Year in Fashion, our annual series produced since 1985, we recap our top moments of the spring and fall 2024 seasons. In New York, Carolina Herrera and Ralph Lauren offer timeless classics for the modern woman.
I get a bit of a fashion lesson from Ralph Lauren. I mean, he really has so much fun with his fashion, and I think that's what I come to expect, is I get to learn that I'm allowed to break the rules.
On both sides of the pond, designers interpreted the complexity and fluidity of modern life on the runway. While some sought to uplift and inspire, others tapped into a darker mood. 2024 was a year of new beginnings and closing chapters. Irreverent Italian label Moschino celebrated 40 years of love and a new era, while beloved Belgian designer Dries Van Noten took his final bow.
He's created an entire world of sort of, disparate references that come together with absolute integrity.
Step into the Metropolitan Museum of Art and experience its latest blockbuster fashion exhibit, Sleeping Beauties. Then, look back on the red carpet appearances of 2024's most talked about celebrity.
Being here tonight at the Met Ball is just unbelievable because it's such a glamorous event.
Plus, we remember the fashion luminaries who passed away this year.
I don't want to be designer, I want to be artist. I come from the art. I was a painter. And this is my way to show a little bit my art.
All that and more coming up on The Year in Fashion 2024. Indian-born American designer Bibhu Mohapatra debuted a sophisticated spring collection in his New York atelier. The designer was inspired by the works of two black female sculptors, Augusta Savage and Simone Lee. The artists explored themes of identity, empowerment, and cultural heritage. Mohapatra merged their classic and modern aesthetics for a timeless collection. Known for his geometric prints and cuts, the designer took a softer approach for spring. The collection emphasized curved lines, liquid forms, and breezy fabrics. Blossom prints and precision-cut florals brought spring to the city. A sophisticated, feminine collection from Bibhu Mohapatra. In March 2024, Belgian designer Dries Van Noten announced his retirement from fashion. In this profile from the Videofashion library, we look back at the beloved designer's career. One of the original Antwerp Six, Belgian designer Dries Van Noten is the third generation in a family of tailors. Continuing the family tradition, Van Noten trained at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Antwerp and, in 1986, launched his eponymous line, which was met with almost immediate success. Often referencing various artworks, florals, or eclectic images in his collections, Van Noten's inspirations are thoughtfully rendered in rich materials, sampling silhouettes, embellishments, and color palettes from cultures around the world.
It's a lot of things. In my collection, it's never like only one thing. I think I would be bored very quickly.
What's really interesting about Dries is that everything builds on the look that comes before, so that there's this kind of iteration after iteration after iteration after iteration. So at the end, he's created an entire world of sort of, disparate references that come together with this absolute integrity. He makes you think about elements you think you know in a completely different way, which is almost more interesting. It's not something you've never seen before, but you had never thought about it that way.
Van Noten's emphasis on thoughtful details is reflected in his runway presentations. Since the house doesn't advertise, Van Noten shows each season are his one chance to communicate his vision.
He's sort of always surprising, and he's been doing it for so long, and it's amazing that he's just an independent designer. I mean, I respect that so much, that he's this independent designer doing, what he totally believes in, as opposed to always having to answer to a bigger house.
For almost 3 decades, Van Noten has maintained control of his company and cultivated a loyal clientele.
Dries is marvelous, always. He has a beautiful color palette. He just has such a graceful eye and such an easy way with how he sees clothes. It's like, there are some designers where you really want them to specify where this clothes is going, whether this is day, whether this is evening. With him, he just imagines, maybe it's just the way he runs his own life, but he just imagines everything to be effortless or no great sweat, whether you're going to work, whether you're going out. It's like, something, it's not about dressing for an occasion, it's about really loving what you have on and then just going out the door.
It's always my aim, of course. I want to make desirable clothes. I don't want to make things which I think are interesting, but at the end nobody's really interested in.
In London's British Museum, the Erdem Spring 2024 runway was a romantic affair. The designer was inspired by the late Duchess of Devonshire and Chatsworth House. Thanks to the archivist at Chatsworth, Erdem and his team were able to mine the archives for inspiration and even make use of actual materials. Remnants of Chatsworth House curtains were incorporated into gowns, and fragments of antique textiles from the house were patched into coat linings and dresses. Lavish, tattered fabrics evoked centuries-old pieces, heirlooms of a great house. Vivid prints brought an eclectic shock of color to the runway. The result was a typically regal collection from Erdem, with an old world, old money feel that was given new life for modern day women. Irreverent Italian brand Moschino celebrated their 40th anniversary for spring 2024. Less than a year after former creative director Jeremy Scott exited his role, the house ushered in a new era by inviting 4 celebrated stylists to design a collection inspired by founder Franco Moschino's iconic designs. Caroline Serfte-Duzil reimagined the founder's early classics for present day, interpreting Moschino's work through the lens of her own personal style. Gabriella Carafa-Johnson recreated and updated styles from the early 90s, channeling the spirit of the era. Moschino's trademark cowboy hats and crochet dresses were reimagined for today. Lucia Liu tapped into the underlying romance and femininity of Moschino's work for an ethereal collection that was still bold in Moschino fashion. Finally, Katie Grand adopted the essence of Franco Moschino's practice, reacting to the cultural moment. Grand responded to what she saw as the cacophony of contemporary life and honored Moschino's signature style of pairing good taste with good humor. The finale t-shirts were created in partnership with the Elton John AIDS Foundation in honor of Franco's commitment to charity work. Proceeds on sales of the t-shirts went toward the foundation. 2024 was a year of 90s nostalgia. Among many others, Videofashion contributed to a major documentary series, In Vogue, the 90s. And what says 90s better than supermodels? Let's step back into the Videofashion library.
The 1990s brought us supermodels. Instead of just selling products, they became the product. For these women, it was a rare combination of beauty, attitude, and business savvy that made them supermodels.
Thank goodness we're not clones, and thank goodness we all come in different sizes and packages, because it's all working.
I don't like looking like a hag. I think it's really nice to look good.
Quoted as saying she wouldn't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day, Linda Evangelista was the original supermodel. It was this Canadian's chameleon-like beauty that made her fortune.
I didn't go from rags to riches. I came up gradually. I wasn't an overnight star. It took me a few years to get going. I went through a lot to get where I am, and I appreciate it.
I've always been very lucky in the people that I've had around me.
Designers such as Gianni Versace reveled in Naomi Campbell's ability to breathe life into their designs with her panther-like strut.
I'm not there to show off myself. I want to show the clothes in the best way possible.
Sometimes her runway style had its pitfalls.
I had to laugh. I mean, I wasn't doing run off and cry and sulk. Because also I've lived my life in public. I had to make my mistakes in public, but I had to learn from them in public. So that's pretty hard. Sometimes you have to take life as it comes.
With vital stats like 37, 24, 37, the German-born Claudia Schiffer was the blonde bombshell of the 1990s.
I'm not trying to be sexy or anything like that. I'm really normal and rather natural than the girl that everybody sees. I was so afraid as well doing shows because I'm basically like a shy person, and to go out there you have to have a lot of, you have to be really strong and, and don't care about all those people. But I managed.
Without a doubt, Christy Turlington was the classic face of modeling in the 90s. Her combination of dark hair, almond-shaped eyes, and elegant air transcended age, fashion, and fad.
A photographer had seen my sister and I and decided to take pictures, and we begged my mother to let us take pictures, and he had sent those pictures to the local agency, which were sent to New York.
It's a timeless face. She has slightly ethnic features, but they're not specifically ethnic, and so they really reflect the standard of beauty of the 1990s.
What is the image of models? I'd like to know. You mean that we have like single-digit IQs and stuff like that?
Model Cindy Crawford, also known as Cindy Inc., has come a long way since her modest beginnings in DeKalb, Illinois.
It wasn't like I was dying to be a model. It's a great job and I'm glad it happened, but it wasn't something that I've been like wanting to do my whole life. My dad is just glad I don't call and ask for money anymore.
Against a backdrop of poppy red petals, the Akris Spring 2024 collection hit the runway in Paris. Designer Albert Kriemler was inspired by Felice Rix Ueno, a texture and craft designer of the Vienna workshop. Kriemler was taken with the artist's visual language, with its strong color contrasts, vibrancy, ornamentation, and bold expression. Kriemler tapped into the artist's expressive artistic spirit, which emphasized fantasy and imagination. Hand-embroidered poppies referenced her work with florals. the collection was dedicated to Felice, a celebration of unrestricted imagination and fantasy. On the first Monday in May, the Metropolitan Museum of Art unveiled its latest costume exhibition, Sleeping Beauties, Reawakening Fashion. The sprawling exhibit revived 220 items from the museum's collection, bringing them back to life in a multi-sensory experience. Visitors were invited to interact with the pieces via touch and smell, mediated by various technologies. Throughout the gallery were several so-called sleeping beauties, archival garments that are so fragile they can no longer be dressed on mannequins. The pieces on display were thematically connected by nature, which also served as a metaphor for the transience of fashion. The exhibition was the latest to kick off with the museum's highly anticipated annual Met Gala and red carpet. Since 1946, the Costume Institute has raised its operating funds through the annual event originally called the Party of the Year, and now known as the Costume Institute Gala. Vogue magazine's editor-in-chief, Anna Wintour, has been instrumental in elevating the profile of the gala and making it fashion's most sought-after invitation. The buzziest celebrity of 2024 was a multi-time Met Gala attendee herself. Check out Taylor Swift's red carpet eras.
Being here tonight at the Met Ball is just unbelievable because it's such a glamorous event, and you know, I spend all my time staring at other people's dresses. It's ridiculous. I can't keep focused.
Miuccia Prada debuted her Spring 2024 collection for Miu Miu on the runway in Paris. Prada embraced unique characters as well as the endless possibility of contemporary dressing, which reflects the complexity of our time. Classic pieces, from swimwear to tailoring, evening wear to undergarments, were remixed in unexpected combinations. High and low, old and new, sporty and formal were mixed and matched for an eclectic but decidedly contemporary catwalk.
I think that Ralph could have been a movie director, so that's fashion's gain and Hollywood's loss, because every time you see a collection like the one we just saw, you just think he's seeing a movie. And the other thing that always strikes me about Ralph's collections is that they are so timeless, but at the same time, they're also essentially modern.
I get a bit of a fashion lesson from Ralph Lauren. Like, there's a beautiful dress that came down with a white lace collar, and it was paired with a Western belt, and I loved it. And I thought, I would have never even thought of pairing that look together. He's the only designer who could put a tuxedo with a pair of boots, cowboy boots. Or, you know, that incredible cowboy hat on that beaded gown. I mean, he really has so much fun with his fashion, and I think that's what I come to expect, is I get to learn that I'm allowed to break the rules.
I go classic, which is Ralph Lauren, because I'm brought up as a Connecticut Yankee, which means buy something as you know, the best that you can afford, get good stuff, and then wear it until it wears out.
I think that it is elegance you can count on year after year. That he I guess, is inspired by what's happening in the world around him, but the clothes are never trendy. You really feel like you could dip into a look in any decade and still be one of the best dressed women in the room.
You know what? I loved it. First of all, I'm a sucker for fringe, anything. But I loved the leathers mixed with the silks. I love the fringe. I love a shearling. There was one shearling that walked, and I was like, I want
I'll
that.
take it.
I love the mix of textures.
Yeah.
They all just look wearable, comfortable, simple, beautiful. I love all the sparkly dresses. And it's really gorgeous.
There's something about it that is, while it is always current and modern, it still feels nostalgic.
For Fall 2024, Carolina Herrera creative director Wes Gordon proposed classic silhouettes for powerful women. The collection was inspired by 80s and 90s working women, merging sleek minimalism with exuberant femininity. The runway emphasized color blocking, strong shapes, and timeless silhouette. Vibrant colors and oversized florals were set against a palette of black and white. Evening wear displayed exceptional craftsmanship with intricate beading and embroidery work. A classically elegant collection from Carolina Herrera. In November, designer Phillip Lim announced he would be stepping down from his label, bringing a 2-decade chapter to a close. In this segment from the Video Fashion Library, we look back on Lim's debut collection.
We are prepping the collection for the presentation tomorrow, the big presentation. These are some showpieces that we're going to propose tomorrow. This is just a 60s box coat shape, but cut into modern proportions with the fur and pearl collars and like a camel. This is inspired by these pieces, like Prince, Purple Rain, you know, it's just like in the movie, his costuming was so elegant, but like with such street credibility. I was trying to give pretty clothes street credibility, make an elegance, but with a street sensibility. When you think you're almost done, it's never over. It's like all the small things that add up to such big, big things. I want the back to trail more, about 5 inches from the side seam. 3-1, the reason for being 3-1, my partner and I, her name is Wen Zhao, and when we started this brand a year ago, we were both 31 years old, hence the name 3-1. But you know, we'll always be 3-1 forever. This is our first presentation in New York City, and yeah, it's kind of scary, kind of exciting, it's insane.
And the hectic pace continued the next day. Lim worked out the finer points of his staging with just moments to go before guests arrived.
I wanted to do presentation instead of runway because I feel that it was a more intimate way to show clothes. We work so hard and so long on the garments, and with a runway, you have 3 seconds for each look. You can never see like the kind of love that went into each garment.
I think it's a very, very special collection. It's elegant and feminine, but it kind of still has a little bit of an undone feeling to it. I think it's used interesting fabrications, and it's really beautiful. I think it's just the way women want to look right now.
I went to a presentation of Phillip Lim's clothes, and I was really impressed. He had a very sophisticated, strong, informal presentation. It's very good.
Friends and an admirer, so just an opportunity to share and admire each other's craft.
You know, it's classic. The shapes are very classic and the fabrics are classic, but there's a little coolness there too in the cut. It looks young. There's a sense of fashion there, newness, desirability, that makes it look updated and like something you want, which is, you know, what you want in fashion, but certainly the pieces are collectible, they're classic, you can keep them and wear them forever.
Right now, I'm kind of overwhelmed because it's like, wow, this is not a dream anymore. It's like reality.
And his reality got even brighter later that season when his label was nominated for the CFDA Vogue Fashion Fund Award. Simone Rocha's haunting fall 2024 runway was staged in London's St. Bartholomew's Church. Titled The Wake, the funereal collection was the third part in a triptych, which began with her spring 2024 collection titled The Dress Rehearsal. The runway was inspired by the mourning dress of Queen Victoria. The decidedly somber tone was given a whimsical contemporary treatment. Lavish pieces contrasted death and sensuality, constriction and unbinding, old age and youth, as seen in bows and playful stuffed animal accessories. Corsetry was an important through line. Structured corsets and bodices were softened with airy fabrics and transparency. A collection to die for, from Simone Rocha. Debuting at Paris Fashion Week, Alexis Mabille's Fall 2024 Couture collection was a party. With joie de vivre on his mind, Mabille conceived the collection as a party, playing with luminous materials, brilliant suppleness, and a vivacious color palette. The collection was crafted with a playful yet bold woman in mind, effervescent, per the designer, like a bubble of champagne. The Paris runway shimmered and sparkled, each piece perfect for a memorable entrance. Videofashion remembers the fashion icons who passed away in 2024.
I'm pretty pleased with my inner self as well as my outer self, so really there's nothing I would change about me.
I've been very much known for pleated dresses. In fact, they're called moire pleating.
I think dressing should be a playful matter, and I think you should enjoy it and have as much fun and give people as much fun to look at.
I like the whole concept. I don't like clothes only. I like the whole concept. It's not only a piece of garment, you know, I like the whole thing. It's more room for fantasy and fun, I think.
I don't want to be designer, I want to be artist. I come from the art. I was a painter. And this is my way to show a little bit my art.
That's a wrap on the Year in Fashion 2024. See you next year for our annual recap of the best in fashion.